Boards are funny creatures. We give ultimate authority for an institution dearly important to us to a group of people who have little expertise in the core work of education, who only spend a precious few hours working together, and who must guide the school from within the cumbersome framework of group decision-making. Why would we do this? Hi, I'm Jack Peterson with Managing for Mission. Managing for Mission specializes in administrative consulting for faith-based schools. As unwieldy as school governance can feel at times, it's absolutely critical to the school's ability to accomplish its mission over the long run. So this is one of a series of videos looking at the role of boards in faith-based schools and how to assure their effectiveness. Unfortunately, for school administrators, governing boards can sometimes feel like a necessary evil, something just complicating their job and their ability to manage the school. Unfortunately, this is often a self-fulfilling assumption. The more we try to minimize the board and its impact, the more problematic it becomes. Administrators will be able to do their job better if they invest time in supporting the board in its proper role and helping it to become more effective. So what is the board's role? We've all heard the word fiduciary to describe the role of trustees, as in boards have a fiduciary responsibility. I used to think this word meant financial, that the board's responsibility is relegated to the solvency of the school. But fiduciary simply means trust. It means the board holds the school in trust for the community it serves and for the mission that comes to it from the greater church. Administrators know their professions and the mission of the school well, but they need this group of trustees to connect their work and the mission to the community they serve. When boards are working well, they bring three indispensable benefits to the school, often characterized as wisdom, wealth, and work. Trustees are a rich source of wisdom for shaping governance-level policies and for assisting administrators in shaping administrative-level policies, because they're drawn from a range of professions and backgrounds. When we say they bring wealth, we don't simply mean that the trustees themselves are wealthy. We mean that because they connect well with the community, they help the school access resources it never could without them. Yes, they themselves need to be benefactors according to their means, but they also attract other benefactors, and they help the school tap into opportunities that they might not otherwise. Work refers to the volunteering trustees do, not only in formulating sound policy for the school, but also by rolling up their sleeves to assist in areas of the school's operations where their talents can be enlisted. The board forms an important link in what we call the chain of care that extends from Jesus to the church, to the board, to the administration and faculty, and ultimately to the student. By doing its job well, the board strengthens this chain of care so that the students experience in a palpable and sustainable way the loving, creative presence of God in their lives. If you want to learn more about this, Managing for Mission has a separate tutorial explaining the chain of care in greater depth. But as I said earlier, boards are funny creatures, and it isn't always easy for administrators or the trustees themselves to understand the nuances of their role. The line between governance and administration is fuzzy, and board members can feel pulled inside that line and begin micromanaging and interfering with the administration. Or they can feel pushed so far outside it that they can't provide that life-giving connection that holds the school accountable to the community and the community accountable to supporting the school. I'd like to borrow a way of explaining this from my colleague David Coleman, author of the book Board Essentials, who talks about the different hats trustees wear. There are 3 of them, and it's critical that board members understand at any given point which hat they're wearing. The first hat is the policy hat. It's the most important because governance-level policy can only be formulated by the board. If the board doesn't set these overall policies, no one else can. No one else has the authority. But as important as the policy function is, it's the thing boards actually do the least. Schools just don't need that many governance-level policies, and once they're in place, they usually stay in place for a while. An example of governance-level policy might be the school's commitment to diversity or to employee benefits. Budget is one of those gray areas where the board may set the larger parameters, like tuition or the salary base, but not deliberate individual line item expenditures. As seldom as trustees make big policy decisions, they still need to keep this hat close at hand, because when it's needed, they're the only ones who can wear it. The second hat I call sounding board. As pointed out earlier, there's a wealth of collective wisdom on the board, and administrators would do well to access that wisdom as they make decisions and formulate their administrative policies. There are times when an administrator is looking for advice from the board on a decision that it is the administrators to make. For instance, a change in the dress code. If the board thinks it's wearing its policy hat, it may end up tying that administrator's hands by giving direction rather than advising her. When this happens, it can lead the administrator to become overly cautious about what he shares with the board. The board is then pushed further away from the school, and the wisdom it could offer is lost. Finally, there is the volunteer hat. The board is a great source of volunteers because they're usually skilled and passionate about the school and its interests. But again, the trustees take off their policy hats when they volunteer in the school. For instance, when a trustee is asked to serve on a campaign committee, he doesn't overrule the director of development by virtue of his status as a trustee. In fact, he has to be careful because even when he doesn't intend to speak authoritatively, school personnel may assume they have to do anything he says. I sometimes wish that trustees would actually wear these hats to clarify to themselves and to others just exactly what role they're filling at any given point in time. But short of requiring that, it's important that trustees constantly ask what hat they're wearing and communicate this to those they work with. More information on how boards can carry out their crucial role is available from managingformission.com, including tutorials on best practices and on an approach to discernment that is uniquely appropriate for faith-based schools. To reach our website, simply click on the link from this tutorial that you find in the upper right of the screen. Thank you for your willingness to strengthen your school's mission by serving on or supporting its board. I pray that God will bless you in your work and bless the school and its students as a result.